So I wanted to do a video on missile defense from the SA-19 Tunguska. Um, thing with these is they're optically guided missiles. The operator uses basically a camera to guide the missile onto the target. It does have a couple radar dishes, at least one. It looks like two, one on the front there and then the folded one on the back. I believe those are used just for ranging. The one on the front is probably used mostly for the guns. This does have 4 cannons on it, and this is a very formidable AAA weapon, so if you manage to defeat the missiles and get close to it, those things will absolutely shred you. So I recommend not getting close to one of these at all if you can help it. But otherwise, they're not really that horrible. So I'm going to be in the A-10, we'll hop in that, and I'll show you my technique. Being that these are optically guided missiles, do not bother wasting any chaff or flare. That it has no effect. You're just wasting it. So at first I'm going to just fly straight towards him. We're going to want a little bit of altitude here and as much speed as we can get, which is pretty much, you always want as much speed you can get in the A-10. Should pop up soon. There he goes. Now, I believe it's only our missile warning system that picks up the launches from this because it's not a radar guided launch. So most other aircraft in DCS will not be getting any kind of launch indications, so you're going to have to watch for them. Basically our technique is going to involve, we're going to want to beam it here. I mean, ideally we'd just fly away and wouldn't even try and deal with a missile launch. But if you get into a situation where you end up close to it, beam it, put it on your 3 or 9 if you can help it. And we're basically going to do kind of a spiral dive kind of maneuver, turn into it, turn, dive, and then basically get the hell out. Put as much distance as we can. Should be pretty soon here. He's getting up on our 9. There he goes. So we're maintaining energy by diving here. We're actually gaining speed. And at the same time, we're constantly changing our direction in relation to his missile. And that will help bleed energy from that missile. And as you can tell, it's been quite a while since he launched. We had to have defeated it. And now we've extended and we are out of range. The Tunguska can seem a little formidable when you first start playing, but it's not too bad. It's easily outranged by a Maverick. Its ceiling is only 20,000. You can fly above it and drop a bomb on it. So, next we're going to take a look at some of my countermeasure stuff. So, stay tuned for that. So I wanted to talk a little bit about my countermeasures settings. So I just put it in active pause here so we can do this. You can make custom countermeasure profiles outside of the game in the Lua files, and it will so you always have custom profiles every time you get in the jet. You don't have to sit here and make them, so that's what I've done. I've only done a couple because you really don't need that many. Let's see here. Let's go. My main 2 programs are going to be the Charlie program. The default program in this is 4 flares at an interval of 0.2 seconds 5 times, so it uses 20 flares. It puts out quite a bit of flares. and it's very effective for defeating IR SAMs and heat-seeking missiles from jets as well. In my opinion, it uses twice as many flares as it needs, so you can change this to 2. But what I've done is I've kind of made it an all-around panic program. So put 2 chaff, 2 flare. The interval is 0.1 and it does it 5 cycles, so it's going to use 10 of each and it's going to be very quick. It's just the perfect one just to leave it on, and if you get an unexpected launch, just hit it a couple times. And you're dumping a lot of chaff and a lot of flare out. And it'll hopefully defeat whatever missile is coming at you. So let's return here. The next program that I changed was the Delta program, and all I did for this one is I just did a single flare, 1 cycle. And I did that because it's super fast to go from Charlie to Delta. So if you're playing multiplayer and someone has a request for everyone to flare out to help identify a friend from foe, it's just super simple to get to it and get your single flare out. And the default A and B programs, I left those alone. A is for older generation SAMs, it's just chaff, and B is for newer generation SAMs, I believe SA-10 and newer. It's just a little difference in how fast and how much chaff it dumps out. So those are the 4 programs I use. Charlie being definitely the most common one that I use. So I'll unpause here. I've got an SA-13 Strela and an SA-18 IGLA MANPADS here at Groom Lake. And so I'm just going to test it out on those. Let's see if I can remember how to active unpause. There we go. And I always run in the manual mode. I recommend you always do that as long as you have the controls to be able to control your chaff and flare programs up and down. If you don't have enough buttons for that, I understand if you just want to leave it on semi-auto. The basic technique is just going to be throttle back and release. And by throttling back, we reduce our engine exhaust output, so the missile has less of a heat source to track on. So we're going to be watching him. The missile warning system is a little bugged right now, especially with the MANPADS, so it's not the most reliable. And we really don't even have to maneuver much for this usually. It's so effective. See, it looks like he's just folding out right now. Try and keep them both in my vision here. Alright, now we're getting the radar ranging. There, he just launched on me. And that IGLA, he also launched, and his missile immediately went after my flares that I had already released. See, very effective. Yeah, and as soon as that IGLA missile launched, it went stupid onto my flares. If I'm counting right, I think the Strela has one more missile after that one. You see, this panic program is very effective. And there, I just trashed all 7 missiles from both of those guys. Just to give you guys an idea what it looks like on the outside here. So anyways, I hope that was helpful.